we've actually been going back and forth, struggling whether we want to even record this, and now that we're recording it, we're kind of like conflicted if we want to post it or not. But if you're watching this, then we decided to share this with everybody. I know you guys have been watching my videos of what I've been going through, and we just feel like we need to talk about more on the long-term effects that abuse have on people.
Yeah, I think, as Mary said, it's not something that's easy for us to do because, my family doesn't even know yet. Maria has been brave enough to start sharing her story to motivate others in our webinars and stuff, and that's something that has motivated me too. But, when you have experienced abuse or sexual violence in your life, it changes you. And yes, we work hard to overcome it, and we work hard to feel good about ourselves and, work towards our goals, motivate our children and our families, but it's something that's not very easy to do, even to talk about. But we did think it was important to share, to try to reach out to those who've experienced this and to raise awareness for those that, thank God, haven't experienced this, so that they can understand their friends or maybe their partner even, or their family. Because when somebody has gone through something so hurtful, it obviously takes a toll on them for the rest of their life. And we wanted to share some of those things that we have been battling with, even though we have overcame so much at this point.
Yeah, and I think it looks different for everybody, but I think for me, when I go through situations like this, or just it gets triggered by certain events, I just start spiraling. It goes from being, sad and stressed to anxiety, and then it just starts like questioning, myself and my dreams and my goals. And sometimes I know that people don't mean it maybe in a bad way, but they don't know what to tell you. And I've recently have been getting a lot of, well, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, I'm the bad guy, or you guys should just get along. You can't ask a survivor to just get along with the person that's abused them their whole lives, or say things like, well, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, if they're doing something wrong by standing up for themselves or defending themselves, and it just makes it harder because you start questioning yourself, and like, honestly, you question your sanity. Like, am I being super dramatic? Am I making it up? Am I really the bad person? And if you don't know what to say, then just don't say anything at all, because that hurts less than saying the wrong thing. And I know sometimes you guys don't mean the wrong thing or mean it in the wrong way, but it doesn't help. And for me, I can't really talk about it, especially with people that don't understand what it's like. So for me, I can talk to Myra because she gets it, and I think it's really important that we are able to talk to other survivors that get it, because maybe we know that not saying anything at all is the right thing. Just to listen is the right thing. But I don't like talking to anybody when I'm going through, those things. And it's the worst thing that I can do, because I start spiraling and I start thinking about, like, well, why was I even born? Like, why? What's the point of everything? And it's really hard. So I think that there is a lot of research and a lot of talk about, numbers and how many people and getting them out of those situations and bringing awareness, but we don't really talk about the long-term effects that this has on your life forever. Simple little things, like, a lot of people think that I'm very silly because I only like even numbers. And this is something that I've never told anybody. Like, I listen to the radio in the car, it has to be an even number, and I set up my AC and an even number. The reason why I don't like odd numbers is because when I was raped, I was staring at a clock and it was 11:35 p.m. So to me, I don't know, they were all odd numbers. So now, and people are like, oh, you're so silly, it's just the radio. Like, they don't understand and they don't know, but it's just little things like that. And it's something probably gonna be with me forever. I know it sounds silly and it sounds ridiculous, but it's like things like that. And it changes the way we have relationships with other people and how we can't trust anyone. So we need to start being able to talk to each other and reach out for each other, because we understand, and there should be a way of giving survivors more support and changing the way we protect them and we see them, and we just need to be kind.
These thoughts are the thoughts that kind of leave you in a cycle of like depression and anxiety, and then your PTSD starts flaring up, and all of these effects. You're working hard to be a good person, to be in your head what we think is normal, right? Because we're not. We feel like we're not at this point, but we work hard to try to do it. But there's no. You don't wake up one day and say, well, that's it. I did it, and I overcame it. I'm at the top, and no more. But it doesn't happen like that, because it follows you. And of course, you always need to try to work for a better you, to see therapists, to get help, to do activities that are, good for you, make you feel good. We always try to do those things, but there's going to be moments where you can't stop that from happening, and going back. And like Maria said, there's, small things that come to your head. The first person that I told, and obviously this person was a child. He was, my friend, and we were little. I was little, he was little, and I was only like 10 years old, and he was 11, right? So I obviously cannot blame this person, because he was a child living in his own abuse. But I told my best friend, and the response that he gave me was like, we don't talk about those things. And from that moment on, those incidents or those crimes that happened, they didn't exist in my head, because I was like, okay, we don't talk about these things. I should never share these things to anyone, not even my parents. So I had loving parents. I had parents who were supportive, who were there for me. My mother, even though she was ill, she was always there, calling me, checking on me, telling me to go do, join some groups or do sports. She was always very supportive. But because of this, I never told anyone, and I kept it to myself until I couldn't anymore. I couldn't hide it anymore. I just had an episode where it was too much, and I started going towards these things of going out so late and meeting strangers and getting drunk and doing dumb things, where I had to share what had happened to me. And even when I was trying to overcome it, I went to apply for a job, and once again, I was faced with the same thing of a man trying to abuse me. And so, it's even, you're trying to control these things, and unfortunately, you start feeling like, oh, life is just not good for me. It's not going to happen. It's not in the books for me. There is no end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
And even when you're having good times in your life and everything is right and you're being successful and you're happy, there's this thing in the back of your mind that you're just waiting for that moment where it's all gonna come crumbling down, and it doesn't let you enjoy the good things. Or when you, for example, for me, and I know I speak for Myra too, there is a lot of years in our childhood that we can't remember. And the reason why is because we block those things out, unconsciously, to protect ourselves. And even when I was, after I was a teenager and adult, I couldn't remember even things that I did 2 weeks prior. My memory was very choppy. It wasn't it was weird. I was just living in that specific day, specific moment, and then just trying to just survive.
Right. And I feel like that's one of those things where people are like, oh my God, you don't remember? Like, they think, obviously they don't know, right? So it's not their fault either. But, I would be sitting there like, why can't I remember these things? Like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, you're so weird. You can't remember. Like, but it goes back. Like, literally, you don't want to say these things to people. Oh, actually it has to do with, the sexual abuse and violence that I went through. That's why I'm sorry. You don't say that in a conversation.
Yeah.
You can't say that in a conversation, so you kind of just keep it to yourself, and you're like, oh. Well.
You're suspicious of everyone. And then even though you're surrounded by a lot of people that love you and care about you, you still have like these kind of like loneliness because they don't understand unless someone has gone through something similar or have trauma in their past. They don't really understand. For me, it's really hard to talk about it. I don't like talking about it. I don't like to hear what other people have to say about it, especially. It makes me very uncomfortable because then I feel like I have to comfort them.
Mm-hmm.
It goes from them trying to comfort you to you trying to comfort them and say, no, it's okay. It's okay, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I rather not. And, I close off and I just want to be alone when I'm going through like one of those episodes of just having very sad and having all these emotions. And it's really hard because it's just one thing after the other and you're trying to fight yourself in your mind and say, no, it was not your fault. No, you deserve better. You were not crazy. It's really hard, especially when you're doing it alone.
Right. I think at this point, Maria and I know each other very well in our stories that we sometimes end up making small jokes about the things about our PTSD, but it's for real. But we understand each other, and that's why we can talk to each other because we know what that means. Even unfortunately, I can speak to my mother about these things because she's a survivor, and it has ties to generational issues as well, and that's a whole other thing. It's a lot of effects that it has on you. And while all of this is happening, while Maria is feeling all of this, she still has to wake up and make breakfast for the kids. And she still has to come to work and, get things done. And run errands and go home and put the kids to bed and, respond to our emails. It's like you're fighting all of this quietly while you're living your day.
Yeah.
And it's obviously something that's not very simple to do. And as we said, we obviously have people who help us. We have support now. Now that we are in a place that we are, Maria obviously has my support. She has, she supports me. And we have our family and the therapist that we talk to. But that's why some people don't come out and talk about it. It's not easy to put out or to speak to, even to a stranger, to like a professional. You going to a therapist. It took me like a whole year. Like literally a whole year to set an appointment with a doctor. Not even my therapist. It was like just the doctor so that she could push me to go see a therapist. But it was and I have like health insurance. It wasn't a financial or a issue of not having it.
It's just like an emotional.
I just didn't, I was fighting myself. I'd have my card and I'd find some reason like, oh, you know what? I forgot to do this other thing. Or, I forgot my card. I can't do it today.
And you can't even explain the reasons why.
No.
And I know it's different for everybody, but anxiety for me is not just emotional. Yes, it starts emotional. My heart starts racing. I start feeling shaky. I feel like I can't breathe. And just like, like worst case scenarios start going through my head, like just at 1,000 miles per hour, but it becomes physical. My body starts hurting so much and it feels so heavy. And I have like this burning sensation in my chest, and it affects you at work, at home, anywhere that you are, and you just have to like stay strong and go through your day. And I think that's why it's really, really important to have a network and a support group basically of survivors that can hear each other and tell each other stories and encourage each other, empower each other. So that's why we try to like gather all our strength and record this video for you guys to share with your friends and family. Just share it with everyone. We do want people to reach out to us privately and send us their stories, call us on the phone. We just want to be able to start building this network and support group of survivors. And we are putting together a plan to have a holistic long-term rehabilitation center where we are going to be able to help survivors in a more efficient, holistic, long-term way.
Right, because we've experienced things, but there are also other survivors out there who've experienced like serious human trafficking and being moved from one country to the next that exists, and that's something that's even more obviously traumatic, but they deserve to have a career, to be get degrees, to not be put down because they only went through high school, or to not be put down because they don't have they have a job that's hourly and whatever it is, they deserve more.
I feel like we just have to be kind to each other because we have no idea what anybody has gone through. I feel like you could ask friends and family. I mean, you could ask my family, my friends, if they knew that I went through this, and they're gonna tell you no. It's only a few people that will say yes. I knew that she went through this, but most people didn't. And people see, happy Mia, bubbly Mia, friendly me, but they have no idea of what truly goes inside my heart, what truly goes inside my mind, what I suffer through every day, and we have no idea what people are going through, where their emotions are. So we just have to be really kind to each other and just, not judge each other and watch the things that we say when someone's going through a hard time.
Right. So we definitely want to thank you for watching this entire video. And yeah, like she said, we don't know who's going through this. So share it with everyone, share it with your friends, so that we can get those stories out and talk to people and have a support between us. Maria said we have a program that we're working on to be able to provide this long-term rehabilitation through Ella. And that's something that we're working for, we're fighting for, and it's definitely one of the goals that we have. We're gonna commit to,
because we want to be stories more than we want to be numbers, and we want people to understand. The more awareness there is out there, the more people will understand, survivors and what they're going through and how hard it is for the rest of your life. Not just, oh, it went through it. They have to get over it. He has to get over it. She has to get over it. No, it's something that we're gonna carry with us for the rest of our lives. Sadly, there is no cure. I mean, therapists will say you process your trauma, you cope with it, but I don't think I've ever heard a therapist say you're going to be cured from this. You're not going to have PTSD anymore. You're not going to have anxiety. Yeah, you're going to learn to handle it and control your anxiety a little bit more. You're going to be able to process your trauma and cope and have coping mechanisms. But no one has ever said you're going to be cured, because there isn't. It's in your brain. It's who you are forever.
So we definitely want to thank you for helping us raise awareness, because this is also going to promote a society that has zero tolerance, because no level of sexual violence, harassment,
domestic violence,
no level of that, no degree is acceptable. It's not acceptable. So by sharing, by raising awareness, we can stop those morbid jokes or those snarky comments, because there's a line, and we need to be clear that there is no tolerance for abuse, there is no tolerance for violence. And if you share that with your group of people, with your group of friends, they're going to promote that as well. Yeah. And society can work towards having that zero tolerance.
And so share, even if you are not a survivor yourself, someone might be, and you don't even know. So just share with everybody, share with your friends and family. If you do know someone that's a survivor, send it to them. We'd love to hear their story, either through a letter, email, phone call, a video chat. We are here to support each other and to hear each other's stories. So please let us know.
And provide resources as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Take care.